Senator Leyonhjelm, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now tell us, firstly, the Liberal Democrats, what sort of a political party is it?
Small government in a short phrase. Less government, more freedom. The priority of the individual over the state. So low taxes, no intrusion into your bedroom, your private life, and into the nanny state, that sort of stuff.
Can I just relate a personal anecdote? Today, for the first time in my life, I had to try and get a Centrelink number because we need to put our daughter for the first time ever into a childcare centre, and we need a Centrelink number to do it. And when I gave my name and my wife's name and our dates of birth to the person at Centrelink, he said, "This is amazing. I've never met two people before who'd never received a payment from Centrelink," as though this was just... Now, in a sense, does that sort of sum up what you're on about?
Yes. We've gone from 100 years ago where it was really rare to rely on government benefits, or the benefits of your fellow Australians, basically. That's what government benefits are. It was really rare. Today we've got the majority of people are receiving government benefits. In fact, a large majority of Australians are receiving government benefits in some description. So in other words, the money from their fellow Australians is being redistributed around. And so, yes, your story is increasingly common, I'm afraid.
I mean, this guy, I could hear him muttering under his breath. He said, "This is amazing." And he said, "Surely your parents would have applied for benefits for you." I said, "Look, I don't think they ever did. I remember my father was always against it." Now, look, we could natter on about that.
Bit scary that they have records going back that far.
Well,
too,
it is, but even scarier to say how unusual it was to find someone who'd never actually claimed benefits. Now, firstly, the executions earlier this morning of Andrew Chan and Myuran Sukumaran, there's a lot of, in my view, huff and puff going on about that our government should now do something to tell the Indonesians just how displeased we are. What do you think?
Well, first of all, we're strongly opposed to the death penalty. We don't think any government should have so much power that they feel entitled to kill people. Just let that on the record. But then after that, you have to say, okay, in the scheme of things, is it more important that these two Australians were executed than 5,000 Nepalese got killed in an earthquake? And I would argue that the 5,000 Nepalese are at least as deserving of our compassion as the two who were executed.
Or just days after Anzac Day, we remember wars in which literally millions of people died.
Indeed, yes, that's right. A sense of proportion has sort of... we've temporarily wandered off the reservation on proportionality, I think, in relation to this. Yes, judicial killing by any country of Australians is important, but there are other things as well. I disapprove of judicial murder, as I think it's the right term for it. But there are other heinous things occurring in the world that also concern us.
Do you think that we should look at things like cutting aid, maybe imposing sanctions, having travel boycotts, all those sorts of things against the Indonesians?
Not in direct retaliation. However, I do believe that foreign aid other than humanitarian relief is unjustified.
But in this case or in any case?
No, in any case. I don't think we can justify retaliating against Indonesia. I've spent some time in Indonesia, and as far as I can tell, they barely remember where we are anyway. But no, I don't think there's any justification for taking retaliatory action against Indonesia for doing what its law allows it to do. It wasn't an arbitrary killing. It was in accordance with their law, and the president just didn't exercise discretion to commute the death sentence.
And of course, it wasn't aimed just at Australia either. Exactly. I mean, there was a Filipino woman who's got a stay of execution, a Brazilian, and I think 2 Nigerians.
Yes, that's right. Foreign aid to Indonesia is another matter, but we need to look at that quite separately from this issue. We're opposed to foreign aid as a party, other than humanitarian relief, such as Nepal needs right now. The reason is because it actually doesn't do very much good.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I in an earlier life went to Africa quite a few times, and I've been to several countries in Africa, and all I saw with foreign aid was hundreds of millions and probably billions being spent, but virtually nothing really coming of it. I mean, I went there, 10 years and another 10 years later, and I mean, it seemed to me that foreign aid was achieving precisely nothing.
Yes, that's right. It's been characterised as poor people in rich countries giving money to rich people in poor countries.
And then you'd see these African leaders with stuffed Swiss bank accounts leaving the country and taking all their money with them.
Exactly the case.
All right, so you think foreign aid, apart from disasters like the earthquake in Nepal, should be cut back. What about some other things? I mean, we were looking at childcare, for example. What's the Liberal Democrats' position on that?
Well, we treat children as a social good. So we socialise the cost of primary education, secondary education. We pay for, I think it's 60% of the cost of tertiary education. The HECS charge only covers about, I think it's 40% of the cost of tertiary education. And now we're also spending, and this has only come up in the last decade, maybe 2 decades, we're also spending about $7 billion on childcare. Now, the question is, should we socialise the cost of having children so substantially? My argument is that having children is a choice, and to hold out your hand to your fellow Australians and say, now pay me for the choice I made, you need a very, very compelling argument for that.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, these days, you'd have to be really quite stupid not to know that contraception is available and works. It's not expensive. So, I mean, it is a choice these days, isn't it? How many children you have is a choice. And
Absolutely.
I've never understood that. I mean, I almost blame Peter Costello. Remember years ago he said have one child for mum, one for dad and one for the country, as though your third child was being bred for, I don't know, going into the armed services or something like that.
No, to become a wage earner and pay taxes, to pay the pensions of all the people who are retiring was what he had in mind at the time. Yes.
Well, all right, we'll take some calls in a moment for Senator David Leyonhjelm.